Welcome to part 4 of my top 27 worst SpongeBob SquarePants episode. Where we last left off was To Love a Patty. Now we're in 17 with Face Freeze. I was gonna put Money Talks in this one, but instead I decided to put Face Freeze. Okay, where do I begin with this flummoxing pile of corporate shit of an episode called Face Freeze? Let me just tell you this. This is honestly the most disturbing SpongeBob SquarePants episode ever. Miss Mr. Krabs sees SpongeBob and Patrick making faces, those fugly faces. If you don't know what fugly means, it means fucking ugly. So yeah, they make fugly faces, and Mr. Krabs tells the story of a man that kept on making faces, and he ends up having a face freeze due to his rudeness to other people and keep on making faces. And SpongeBob and Patrick promise, yeah, right. Like if they promise nothing, they continue to make those fugly faces. And they slept through the night with their fugly faces, and after annoying the hell out of Squidward. And there was a scene where Sandy Cheek said, "You two need serious help." Sandy, for once, I agree. They do need help. And once they woke up, they had their face frozen forever, meaning that Mr. Krabs was telling the truth about this story. So SpongeBob does his best to hide his fugly face in front of Mr. Krabs. But when Mr. Krabs sees that they've been continuing making those fugly faces, Mr. Krabs does the same, making a really fugly face and have his face frozen, and Squidward does the same because why the fuck not? Because the directors really hate Squidward so much, so they decided they wanted to give him a face freeze. This was the most disturbing episode, guys. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. These children are gonna have. These face freezes are gonna have nightmares to kids. How is this even acceptable? You tell me. How is this episode even acceptable? The writers had no idea how fugly these faces were. If you want to make a good episode, you have to stick with a good script and make it really good. Don't make it shitty like this one here. Face freeze is a very poor excuse. Face freeze sucks. It's hideous, and it gives me nightmares every time I look at this episode. Don't want to talk about this anymore. Moving on to number 16. Number 16, I got In Spongiac. Now this one is bizarre and bad. It was bad too. Bizarre and a bad episode. It begins with SpongeBob doing his job at the Krusty Krab, and when Mr. Krabs comes, he bitches at SpongeBob. Because, of course, Mr. Krabs likes to be a bitchy person. Not only a self-centered, arrogant son of a bitch, but he also loves to be bitchy. And he tells SpongeBob that he needs to get a good night's sleep. SpongeBob does his best to go to sleep, but things don't work. So he goes into Patrick's and he asks for help, but Patrick doesn't help him or make anything better. Instead, he makes everything worse. You know what he does? Due to his brain dead personality, he tells him a wake up story and a get up don't lie down song, and he gives SpongeBob coffee. Wow. Patrick, how stupid are you? honest to God, he cannot do anything. He really needs professional help, Patrick, because he doesn't know when people need good night's sleep. Oh my God. Patrick is he's such an asshole, Patrick. And then SpongeBob runs and he sees those jumping bush, and that's when things got really bizarre. There was this Mr. Krabs crying mustard with those squirting things, bunches of mocking Squidward, a really big Patrick. Oh my God. And then this guy that Sleepy does, and SpongeBob wakes up, and oh my God. He sleeps in this snail litter. Ew! And Mr. Krabs like, what the fuck? And yeah, SpongeBob done fucks it up. He washes his hands with mustard, and Mr. Krabs bitches again that he didn't get a good night's sleep. And then SpongeBob cries out mustard. And yeah, that was a very stupid ending. This was bizarre, and it was it was weird, and it was abysmal. If SpongeBob wanted a good night's sleep, how come he asked Patrick? You know what he should have done instead? Instead of going to Patrick, he should have gone to Sandy instead. Sandy would have helped him at least. Patrick is untrustworthy because he sings a get up song, he reads him a wake up story, and gives him coffee, which doesn't do any good to him at all. Sandy would have done a much... I wish if I was a director, I would have done a much better job with this episode. Make SpongeBob go to Sandy, and then Sandy will do a much better job. Yeah, I know, but still. It would have been a much better episode if SpongeBob went into Sandy and Sandy can help him go to sleep. That would have been a much better episode. But no, he had to go to Patrick's instead. This was a piece of shit excuse for an episode. Moving on. Number 15, SpongeBob, you're fired. This was a very terrible episode. Mr. Krabs fires SpongeBob all because for a nickel. Mr. Krabs, for firing SpongeBob all because of a nickel, you're such an asshole, Mr. Krabs. Guys, Mr. Krabs is the biggest asshole. He's such a big asshole. Especially in this monstrosity, he was the biggest asshole. And then Squidward kicks SpongeBob out and saying that he has to visit sometime as a customer, and Mr. Krabs will take over SpongeBob's place, which he'll do a shitty job, I bet. And SpongeBob cries because he got fired over a nickel. Thanks to that asshole over there. Yes, this asshole right over there. This motherfucking asshole. And then Patrick cries, and then SpongeBob tells him that he got fired, and Patrick's like, that's great! Are you fucking serious? How is losing your job great? That's fucked up. That's fucked up. And then they go to Sandy and they have this weird thing, and oh my God, SpongeBob's face when we go to, oh my God, that's hideous. That image is so fucking fugly. And then SpongeBob says that he got fired. And then Sandy tells SpongeBob that he needs to move on to his life. And SpongeBob then goes back to his normal old self and looks for a new job. He tries the hot dog, and the taco and the pizza and the noodles, but neither of them was satisfied, and they fired him quickly. So SpongeBob, and then later on, SpongeBob had been kidnapped by these by the hot dog / taco / pizza noodle guy, and then this Krabby Patty kidnapped him and brought it back to the Krusty Krab, and everyone was sorry for firing SpongeBob. And then SpongeBob is back at the Krusty Krab, and he's all happy-go-lucky, yay! But still, that wasn't a good episode. No, that was a very shitty episode. SpongeBob should have grown the fuck up, put a hair on his chest, and move on to his life. He's better off without it. Oh wait, he isn't, because without Krabby Patties or the Krusty Krab, he'll die, which is a stupid reason. I don't know what the director was thinking when they made this abomination of a episode. SpongeBob, you're fired. And oh my god. And Mr. Krabs is a big asshole. He was the biggest asshole for firing SpongeBob, all because of a nickel. Mr. Krabs, how would you like it if someone fired you? You know what? Mr. Krabs should have been the one that been fired. He should have been the one, Mr. Krabs, not SpongeBob, because SpongeBob was just doing his job. Mr. Krabs was doing nothing but being an asshole for firing him, all because of a fucking nickel. That's a very poor excuse of firing someone, and it was the most shittiest experience. It was the most shittiest thing I've ever experienced. Oh my god. This was, in fact, one of the worst episodes ever so far. But there's more than that where it comes from. So stay tuned for part 5.